It looked like somebody was bent over and had their head in the window of the deer blind. It either heard me or smelt me, and he pulled his head out of the tent and stood straight up, and that shocked me. They don't make people that big.
The way it moved, almost as if it was gliding across the beach. I've never seen anything move like that in my life. They were screaming at each other in gibberish. It sounded like a language, and they were chuntering away back and forwards, back and forwards, back and forwards. I know what a bear looks like, and there is no way on this planet that what I saw were bears.
What are you reporting?
Jesus Christ, you better...
Sir?
Gia!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9", I don't know.
Do you see him now, sir?
Yes, I'm looking right at him.
Uh-oh.
My name is Peter. Sasquatch Chronicles is the show that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Got a great show planned for you. We're going to be chatting with Lawrence. And Lawrence comes to us from California. And out there in the Sierra Nevadas, he's actually had 3 encounters. And his first encounter, he came across this creature and had glowing red eyes. And for the longest time, Lawrence thought, well, we ran into a demon out there. And it wasn't until he started looking into the subject he realized what he had actually ran into. And we're also going to be chatting with Leo. And Leo comes to us from California too as well. He was actually out with his son fishing, and he came across this creature out there. He had one sighting, but he's had a lot of weird things happen to him when he was fishing. So he'll be going into that tonight. And I had a listener send this to me. Before we get to the guests, I had a listener send this to me, and I put it up on the blog. It's Strange Sounds out of Ohio. And the listener said he had several encounters with Bigfoot and one sighting all in the same location here in Springfield, Ohio. And he was actually out with his girlfriend. They're out in the woods, and he's filming with his phone, and he picked this up. At first I thought it was a fox, but the more I listened to it, I realized it's not. It's too deep to be a fox. I don't think coyote really makes sense. Let me know in the comments in your guys' opinion on what you guys think it is, if it's not a Sasquatch. But hopefully I have the guest on. I would love to hear about his encounters. Let's jump into it tonight. I want to welcome Lawrence to the show. Lawrence, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no problem. It's great being here.
Yeah, it's great to have you on here. And I know you had an encounter. You actually had 3 encounters we're going to talk about tonight in the Sierra Nevada area. If you would, I know the first encounter took place in 1999. Lawrence, if you would kind of take us back to that moment. What were you doing and walk us into what happened?
Well, this took place in Pollock Pines, California. And I remember that night, it was weird. It was at Sly Park Lake. And that night was weird because there were fireworks were going off over the lake. I suppose it was for a kid that had drowned in the lake a year before, and they wanted fireworks on their 21st birthday. So their parents hooked them up with this firework display, in their memory. Well, later that night, on the probably around like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, me and my girlfriend at the time and a bunch of her friends were at this spot on the lake called the Point. It's this little jut of land that comes out onto the lake, and there's a picnic table on it. And we're just sitting there, just joking around and just having a good old time, teenagers, and enjoying the summer. And suddenly, over at the inlet, we see this set of glowing red eyes, and it's about like half a football field away. So I mean, I wasn't too terrified, but we see these glowing red eyes, and I remember thinking that they looked. If you've ever seen the comic book character Spawn, they look like his eyes, but red. And I remember watching this thing look around and just like weave in and out from like it was walking along the tree line, between the tree line and the water line. And it was just looking around like it was looking for something. But you could tell by the eyes looked like they were wrapped around a huge head. And every once in a while, you can even see the silhouette of what looked like a conical shape of the head. It was hard to see the rest of the body, but you could tell from where it was at in comparison to where we were at that this thing must have been gigantic. And I remember just the way that we watched it move. I've heard people on the show say that they move like they're gliding. Like there's no head bob, like Patty and the Patterson. Yeah, it was just smooth movement. There was no head bob, and just looking around. We watched this thing for probably about 4 or 5 minutes. They were all terrified, but I wanted to see what this thing was, so I got up off the table and started heading towards it. And my girlfriend at the time, she stopped me. No, don't go over there. It'll kill you, whatever it is. And I begrudgingly didn't go and sat back down on the table, and we just kind of sat there and watched it just look around until it moved off. We waited for a little while before we went back to the campsite, and there were no other incidents. I just remember it was very confusing to me that I saw something like that at like a crowded campsite.
Yeah, how far away from you was it, Lawrence, when you saw this thing?
Probably about 50 yards.
It's really close. It's really close. And what time of day was it when you saw this thing?
It was like 1:30 a.m. Sometime between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
Can I ask you, too, about the eyes? You mentioned they were glowing. Do you think it was eye shine, or were they actually illuminated eyes? I mean, I'm sure you know the difference at this point in your life, Lawrence.
Yeah, it looked like illuminated eyes. It did not look like eye shine. That's why, to me, it reminded me of Spawn, because Spawn's eyes are illuminated. They glow under that mask of his. But his eyes were green, but they have like the same shape as Spawn's eyes. But whatever we saw had red eyes that were glowing.
And for people who haven't seen Spawn, what were the shape of the eyes? I mean, can you kind of describe it?
Kind of like kind of hard to describe, like kind of like an upside down triangle of you're pissed off. You're like really mad. If you can imagine like kind of like the shape of the eyelets on Iron Man's helmet.
It's a really good one. I've seen Spawn. I'm sure there's part of my audience that haven't seen Spawn, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Was there anything, so you're looking at this thing, did you guys, was it more or less kind of an outline as what you're seeing at night, and then you're seeing the eyes on it?
Yeah, and we could see like the silhouette of the shoulders. There was no neck, big conical head. And we went back over there the next morning because I wanted to see in relation to how big, tall I am. I'm 6'2", and relation to how tall I am, where we were at the table, out on the point, and where we saw the eyes moving. Went down there to the shoreline.